Here I am again. How did I get here? Here I am again. How did I get here? Here I am again. How did I get here? I am so unsure of taking action when I thought I knew. I don't seem to, lost here in the dark. I can't see a foot to take a step. What is happening? Oh, this hurts so bad. I can hardly breathe. I just want to leave. Oh, please hear my call. I am afraid for me. Death has burned me raw. I need your healing, please.
Good evening. Good evening. You know, when I started working on this piece, past tense and race notes, it was like, I felt like it was a 10-year-old child being asked to do a chore that I simply didn't want to do. I was sort of tired and sick of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I just wanted to go shoe shopping more than anything. And then a few amazing things happened. One is that I was struggling to work on this and struggling to understand what I was doing and what I was involved in, what I was engaged in, what I was trying to get at. I had this amazing dream. And there was this amazing, huge tsunami, wall of water coming. And in this dream, I saw this wall, and I thought, not only did I want to save myself, but I wanted to save my friends. I wanted to save the people that were important to me, and I started running. And then I looked over to my right, and there was Trump in my trunk. Packed me up. But I ran past him, and I ran towards my friends, and when I got to my friends, they were climbing this great ladder. This great ladder that Martin Puryear, the fabulous artist, made. And I saw all my friends climbing this ladder, and they were singing Jacob's Ladder as they climbed, and they were singing Jacob's Ladder as a protest song. Fabulous. One of those kind of dreams that sort of shakes you and had me running out into the night air, crying to myself, struggling to understand what I'm up against. And then, while working away and digging, it occurred to me that while I was working on these ideas around the history of violence, that the story of Antigone came to mind, a great and ancient story that seemed to bring us into a contemporary moment, contemporary time. But there are only a few stories in the world, and this was one of them, the great story of Antigone. And so we begin with, and we bring you into this piece as a series of contemplations and considerations and possibilities of issue and idea. It's not necessarily a play. And I bring with me a group of extraordinary singers, extraordinary minds and poets and other artists, because my life would be nothing but for other artists who help me and who assist me and who bring their ideas and their energy to the table. So we bring that to you in an offering. So we knew something, that day by day, this country has been slowly, persistently changing. Traditions dying and forces colliding, demographics shifting from white to brown and various shades in between. And the evidence along with the anger was everywhere. The resistance was so strong, you could taste it. And tongues were wagging, fingers were pointing to here, there, and everywhere, blaming you, blaming them, and blaming us. But tripped up by forces beyond their control, white men were disaffected and disenfranchised, and black men were disaffected and dying. But both in the eyes of the state are really devoid of power. And yet blinded by race and rage and historical circumstance, each blame the other. So, there's this clash. And Antigone, her brother, is killed. And this is basically her story. Rightly or wrongly, challenging his brother and the laws of the state that refuse to recognize his right to power, Rightly or wrongly, Polynices, the brother of Antigone, is killed in his struggle for power with his brother. Rightly or wrongly, it is decreed by Creon, the ruler of the land, that Polynices, who has broken the law, should not by any means be buried, but his body must be left exposed to the elements and for nature to take its course. And against Creon's order, and responding not to man-made law, but to moral law, to God's law, rightly or wrongly, Antigone defies this order, and in the name of her father, in the name of her mother, decides that she must bury her brother. For defying Creon's law, Antigone, too, is sent to her doom, to her tomb, where she is asked to be buried, and she will be buried alive for her transgression against the state. That this ancient story of Antigone reaches across the vast expanses of time and is able to anchor us now contemporarily in our present and this moment, giving a testament to our lives, is of course reveals the extraordinary power of story, of music, and its ability to transcend. Antigone dies, but I want to live. So tonight here in this place, this hour, this very moment, the reason that we have gathered, we are asking you for your permission, your understanding. We ask for the right to bury our brothers, to bury our dead with some sense of dignity, some sense of human possibility, understanding his human right to be properly buried. That you're out for an evening stroll by yourself or with a friend, your child, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband. From the corner of your eye, you see a police car speeding by, red strobes flashing. For reasons unknown. For reasons unknown, imagine that the speeding car comes to a full stop right in front of you. And the officer inside the car gets out and for no apparent reason demands to see your ID. Well, You've heard the news, and because recent circumstances have taught you a thing or two about the limits of these fatal encounters, your fingers are crossed. Fearing the possibility of becoming yet another statistic, you therefore wholeheartedly supply and comply. But as you reach into your jacket pocket for the requested ID, a nervous officer, for reasons unknown, imagines that you are reaching not for your ID, but for an imagined gun that is in your imagined jacket pocket. And so, for no apparent reason, a shot is fired, and boom, you go down. Imagine that you're out for a stroll, chatting on your phone, kicking it with your best friend, making your way home, passing the time. For reasons unknown, you're stopped by the neighborhood vigilante, this self-appointed do-gooder of justice, who imagines that you look out of place. For reasons unknown and reasons contested, a struggle ensues. A fatal shot is fired, and boom, a bullet enters the left side of your abdomen. For reasons unknown, imagine living under this constant pressure, this relentless violence, this level of suspicion, where time and time again, your encounter with those meant to serve ends with your death. Imagine that you are always stopped, always charged, always convicted. And then imagine how that might feel. Or imagine your child living in a constant state of fear, under constant pressure. Imagine that for reasons unknown, they're always stopped, always questioned. Imagine this. See this. Imagine the impossible. Imagine the worst of the worst and know that it's happening. Imagine Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, only boys. Imagine Eric Garner, Sandra Bland. Imagine the grief of their mothers, suffering of their fathers, and the vengeful heart of their sisters. And then think about it. We know that Antigone tells the people that the bright light of history is now shining down on them, on her, and on us. Exposed now, all things are knowable. The age of innocence has passed, and we are now responsible for our own future. In shame, some will turn away, but the crime remains.
Day by day, the country was slowly, persistently changing. Traditions were dying, forces colliding, and demographics shifting from white to black and varying shades of brown. The evidence along with the anger was everywhere. The resistance was so strong you could taste it. Tongues were wagging and fingers were pointing to here, there, and everywhere. Blaming you, blaming them, blaming us. Tripped up by forces beyond their control, white men were disaffected and disenfranchised. Black men were disaffected and dying, but both are devoid of power. Blinded by race, rage, and historical circumstance, each blamed the other.
There were wars and rumors of wars. ISIS was growing, China evolving, and the West was trembling. In the face of its created monster, all trust was broken. We were now in the autumn of the patriarch. Corruption is rampant and crime is everywhere, with bubbles bursting, banks failing, companies closing, capital collapsing, murder, mystery, and mayhem, riots, revolts, revolutions, assassins and psychopaths everywhere, taking matters into their own hands, ruling the streets and governments alike, goose-stepping right into the White House, knowing that by the year 2020, manifest destiny would be a thing of the past, boxed up and put away and compelled by a growing sense of loss. Confederates and conservatives were coming out of the attic, despising Obama and voting for Trump.
Understandable? The attempt of the enemy was to cut off the progressive people from the great masses of the Americans. In my own case, it was to cut me off from the Negro people from whom I'm born. Imagine, somewhere somebody says, I'm born a Negro, that because of my beliefs, my fight for peace, my fight for friendship between nations, my fight for the complete liberation of my people, that somewhere I'm not an American, and that I should be cut off from the very people from whom I was born.
For the slow spring rain to soak the violet beds, dark clouds on its grief. The wind, it blows furiously, and tears burst from sky. The significance of your majesty upon love and those you love, from a web of joy through industry winding, time, space, thread back into craft.
Ask someone, who are you? Where are you now? What do you think? What shall we change? Where is our Congress? Who is curious? What is our proposition and remedy? Where shall we place our attention and how shall we give it decision? Today ahead, though dimly, yet we see through light, through space, through rooms, through halls in which we gather. A copious, sane, gigantic, lasting power becomes us in our gathering. A harmony of eyes and minds and language gives us a right to things. Here, the body and the life are to be considered in diatonic notes, little shreds of fabric to make the whole of a continuum. So daydream here. Think in terms of tangential associations. Focus on and become aware of the possibilities simmering your interests. Ponder creative solutions and abstract speculations of principle and theory. Develop perfection. Comprehend, contradict one another, and by all means, question democracy. Realize convictions. Present them in oneness tempered by a wandering. The triumphant future of business, of play, of republic, it is afforded us here. Value your occupancy and inhabit your intellect. Take off your hat to nothing known or unknown, or to any man or number of men. Re-examine all that you have been told at school, or in church, or in any book. Dismiss whatever insults your soul. Your very flesh shall be a great poem, and it will have the richest fluency, not only in its words, but in the silent lines of lips and faces and between the lashes of eyes and every notion and motion of your body. Just look up and see yourself here. Ask someone, who are you? Where are you now? What do you think? What shall we change? Where is our Congress? Who is curious? What is our proposition and remedy? Where shall we place our attention, and how shall we give it decision? Embrace the magnitude of a moment in the aggregation of heroes and sufferers of misfortune, because this is your place. Yes, it is a constant puzzle. And yes, it is an affront to the merely educated cosmic artist mind lit with infinite thirst. But I ask you to turn to the essential dualism of its nature's coexistence. I'm asking you to welcome a poet, to welcome a maker of things, to welcome all lovers of vision. I'm asking you to speak to someone of what you know. And I'm asking you to know your words to be light.
I shall not be moved.
So, a black man, a white man, and a Jew walk into a bar. And the white man said, and the white man said, and the white man said, a black woman gazing into the mirror says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror says, Snow White, you black bitch. Don't you forget it. What's 14 inches long and white? Nothing. Why do black people hate taking aspirin? Because they can't stand the idea of picking more cotton. What's the difference between a black fairy tale and a white fairy tale? The white fairy tale begins with once upon a time, and the black fairy tale begins with you motherfuckers ain't gonna believe this shit. You motherfuckers ain't gonna believe this shit. What are the three things you can't give a black person? A black eye, a fat lip, and a jaw. Oh, and what did Abe Lincoln say after a drinking bout? I freed the what? What do you call a black person with a PhD? A nigga.
They were no strangers to sorrow. And time again, the man was rejected and the woman was denied. A man was killed. The body lay in the open, uncovered and exposed. Women wailed and men moaned. Even the gods turned their heads. For reasons unknown, we saw him running. We saw him stop. We saw him turn with raised hands. We heard a shot, saw him fall. But for reasons unknown, I rejected my own knowledge and I deceived myself by refusing to believe that this was possible. And so their rights were denied, and the people said little, and they did even less. But we know this violence was not like it was in the movies. There were no fast cuts, no zooms, no pans, no close-ups, no fades. Reality happens in slow motion and in somber color. And so we ask this question, in this mystery of all mysteries, measure for measure, how do you measure a life? Saw him running. Saw him stop. Saw him turn with raised hands. Heard a shot. Saw him fall.
The man has been rejected. The woman has been denied. The numbers tell the story.
She was 25.
He was a father,
He was 22.
a brother,
She was 31.
an uncle,
He was 36.
a cousin.
She was 28.
She was a mother,
He was
a
25.
wife,
She was
a
34.
sister,
He was
an
43.
aunt.
She was 37.
He was a
child,
father,
She was 35.
a boy,
a girl,
She was 24.
a woman,
a wife,
He was 29.
a man,
a mother,
She was 22.
a friend.
He was
An uncle.
41.
She was a daughter.
She was
a
23.
cousin,
He was a son.
He was
a
36.
sister,
He was a brother.
He was a father.
a mother,
An
He was a
uncle.
brother.
a wife,
An uncle.
He was a son.
A cousin.
child,
A
A
father.
man.
a daughter,
A husband.
a niece,
She was a mother.
A girl.
a nephew,
A wife.
A husband.
An
a
aunt.
niece,
An aunt.
She was 25.
He was a father.
a mother,
He was 22.
He was a brother.
She was
A mother.
31.
An uncle.
He was
An aunt.
36.
A son.
He was
she was
43.
25,
She was a mother.
He was
she was
18.
34,
A wife.
She
he
was
was
24.
18,
She was a sister.
he was 41,
He was a father.
And he was a father.
she was 25,
Brother.
An uncle.
she was 31,
She was a mother.
A cousin.
43,
He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. He just shot his arm off.
Told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand up.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God! Please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him.
a father, a brother, sister, cousin, a mother, a wife, 25, 24, 12, 8, 19.
She was 19.
He was a father. He was a brother.
So much to do, so much to think about. These lives, difficult, complex, real. A friend died, and I really thought deeply about this idea of how do you measure a life? I keep coming back to it again and again and again. How? This mystery of all mysteries, and the Alpha and in the Omega, the beginning and the end, on a day coming in a world, on a day without end. How do you measure a life? Do you measure it inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, or step by step? By the moments lost or by the moments gained? Day by day, year by year, by yesterday, today, or tomorrow? By the miles walked, by the mountains climbed, or by the valleys explored? By the dreams imagined, or by the hopes dashed? By the wisdom of wise words spoken, or by the sorrow of silence? By the wealth accumulated, or by the amount spent? By success or by failure? By the monuments built, by the walls scaled, by defeats and victories, large or small, by the forgotten or over the remembered, by race, by class, by beauty, by your lover's love or your hater's hate, by pushing against the wind, against the tide, against family, against tradition, or by the suffering of your friends and your enemies alike? By the beginning or by the end? Or by the way you confront life or death? By the number of friends that gather during a lifetime? Or by the remaining few who go as far as they can with you, shedding copious tears when they lay your body down? How? By the road traveled, or by the effort, by the will, the drive, the sheer determination to endure all of the impossible, or by the kindness and the grace displayed in the process of your living? How?
Commemorating all of the fallen and all of those who have endured. Commemorating every black man who lives to see 21. Commemorating Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Garner. Commemorating Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland. Commemorating Christian Taylor, Samuel DuBose, Walter Scott. Commemorating Tony Robinson, Philip White, Jerome Reed. Commemorating Tanisha Anderson, John Crawford Dante Parker, Akai Gurley. Commemorating Damon Howard, Thomas Allen, Easel Ford, commemorated. Jeremy Lett, Laval Hall, Bobby Gross, commemorating Brendan Glenn, Frank Shepard, William Chapman, commemorating David Felix, Spencer McCain, Darius Stewart, commemorating the Emmanuel Nine for the spirit of their generosity and grace, commemorating Alton Sterling, Philando Castile. I commemorate you, and I bury you without shame or fear. And if you are asked who committed this crime, this audacious defiance against the state, point to me and tell them I did. Tell them I did. Tell them I did. Tell them I did. Tell them I did.
lucky. We're working with all these extraordinary artists. Craig Harris conducting us. Special guest with us. So Antigone told the people that the bright lights of history were shining down on them, on her, and on us. Antigone is sent to her doom, her tomb, where we want to live. While we can, we should do that. While we can, we should also consider the nature of what is and what will be. Consider the ebb and flow of tides and the bliss of water simply ebbing at the shore, and the wonders of the world, its vastness, its glory, its expanse. That we are alive is absolutely extraordinary. Consider standing for something or fall for anything. Consider the slope and the joy and the magnificence of a woman's body and the joy that it brings without force. And then consider the long days and the restless nights, the yearning of the lonely and the lost, and the despair of parents who lose their sons and daughters far too soon. While we can, let us consider the meaning of meaning. Consider beauty and its bounty. Consider the lack of meanness of lack of consideration. Consider the meanness of broken spirits. And consider fixing what is damaged and lost, fragmented, in ourselves and all around us. While we can, perhaps we'll consider a mood indigo and a love supreme, anchoring us to the rhythm of life in all of its glory. Consider the depths of mountains, heights of mountains and valleys, and protecting them before they're all washed away. And then consider saving some small portion of this magnificent planet, and consider the fascinating wonders of this extraordinary world, its challenges, all of its deepest meaning, all of its magnificent purpose, and consider where you stand. For this evening, we thank you, and I invite out the extraordinary graces, Alicia Hall Moran, Amani Azuri, Francesca Harper, Carl Hancock Rux, our wonderful special guest, Aja Monet, Jawad Taylor on trumpet, our extraordinary director, Craig Harris, our wonderful musicians who joined us, And I'm Carrie Mae Weems, and we thank you. Past tense. Thank you.